All right, let's talk about how we actually come to understand something. I mean, truly understand it. Whether it's a new piece of tech you're trying to master or, a tricky problem at work, the way you start learning can change everything. So, let's get right into it.
So let me ask you this, straight up. Think about the last time you had to get your head around something new. Were you just preparing, gathering all the documents, reading the manuals, making checklists, or were you actually trying to build a picture in your head of how the thing works? Because believe me, there's a huge difference, and it's a trap that's so easy to fall into.
Yeah, and that trap, it actually has a name. We're calling it the prelude problem. It's this fundamental mistake we make right at the start of learning something new, and the crazy part is it holds us back, and we usually don't even know it's happening.
So here's the belief that gets us into so much trouble. We tend to think that reconnaissance, that first phase where you're just looking around, gathering info, is just a warm-up. It's the kind of boring prep work you gotta do before the real work can begin. But what if that's completely 100% backward?
And that leads us right to the main point of this whole thing. It's time to take that old belief and just flip it on its head. Let's look at what's really at the heart of understanding something deeply.
So, here it is, the big idea. Recon is not a prelude to understanding. Recon is understanding. And look, this isn't just playing with words. This is a massive mindset shift. The act of exploring, of observing, of mapping things out, that is the work. That is you building your understanding. It's not the appetizer, it's the main course. It's the whole shebang.
Okay, so let's be super clear about what we mean by recon here. This isn't just passively watching. No. It's an active, ongoing thing. You're constantly building a mental model, like a map in your head, of how all the pieces connect and work together. And that map you're building, that is your understanding.
Okay, great. So if recon is the understanding, how do we actually do it, right? How do we put this into practice? Well, the good news is this whole idea isn't just a philosophy. It breaks down into a really clear 4-step method you can use.
But hang on, before we jump into those steps, I really want this next idea to sink in. The map is the memory your future testing depends on. This is so important, because literally everything you do later, every single test you run, every decision you make, every guess you have, it's all going to be based on how good that mental map is. It's the foundation for everything.
All right, so here are the 4 steps to building that powerful map. First up, observe. Simple, right? Just look, see what's actually there, no judgment. Then, step 2, map. This is where you start connecting the dots. You draw out the relationships between all the things you just observed. Step 3 is compare. You take your map and you hold it up to reality. Does it match? What do other people's maps look like? Does it hold water? And finally, step 4, hypothesize. Now, based on your map, you can start making some really smart guesses about what the system is going to do next.
Now we're going to add one more layer to this whole thing. And honestly, it's a little counterintuitive, because it turns out that some of the absolute best information you can get for building your map, well, it doesn't show up when things are going perfectly. It shows up when things break.
Yeah, just think about it for a second. On one side, you've got what we call the happy path. When everything works exactly the way it's supposed to. And yeah, that's useful, but it's kind of predictable. But on the other side, you have all the error behavior, the unexpected crashes, the weird results, the system just completely failing. So, where do you think the really juicy insights are hiding?
And you guessed it, the big secret is that the error behavior is often way more informative. Why? Because an error shows you the system's limits. It reveals the hidden rules and the breaking points. When something breaks, it's basically whispering a secret to you about how it really works. A secret you would never, ever learn if you just stayed on that happy path.
Of course, this isn't a free-for-all. This is where your judgment becomes absolutely crucial. It's a real balancing act, right? You've got to build the skill to know when an error is a super important clue and when it's maybe just a random glitch you shouldn't read too much into. And guess what? Developing that skill, that all comes from having a really solid map to begin with.
So, let's wrap this all up. The real takeaway here is that understanding isn't some destination you arrive at. It's not a finish line. Real, true understanding is the process of reconnaissance itself. It's that constant cycle of observing, mapping, and learning from everything around you, especially from the mistakes. It's a process that really never stops.
And I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Just think about your own world for a minute. Your job, your projects, whatever. What's that one recurring error, that one nagging problem that you keep brushing off as just an annoyance?
Because if we've learned anything today, it's that that little error, well, it might just be holding the most valuable piece of information you've been looking for all along.